When you think of the Finnish railway, you probably think about the excellent long-distance double-decker trains operating up and down the country day and night. And perhaps on a visit to Helsinki, you might have stumbled across some of their various types of commuter trains, but I bet you haven't seen this one. This is the 5 times a week special commuter service to Kouvola, the only service to still run with classic commuter carriages in Finland. So join me on this trip to see what this special train is like and for a look at the new trains that might soon replace them. Our journey begins at Helsinki's beautiful station building from 1919 that has served the city ever since, growing to become the largest and most important railway station in Finland. To use the main entrance, we just have to pull open these heavy wooden doors, and then we enter the beautiful station hall. With its lovely ambience and great colors, this has to be one of my favorite railway stations in Europe. The station caters to all kind of travelers being able to taste jungle juice or some Japanese sushi. Heading further inside, we are greeted by the station's main departure board. We'll be catching one of the few C trains that extend beyond Lati to Kouvola, leaving at 15:32 from track 10. As there's still a bit of time left before our train departs, let me show you the rest of the station. It's a well-equipped station with plenty of facilities such as convenience stores and restaurants. In the station's western corridor you will find the VR ticket office and the stairs and elevator down to the station's toilets, as well as luggage storage facilities. Heading out to the main train shed, we can take a look at the varied train traffic that serve this station. Inner suburban trains are usually operated by the SM5 flirt trains built by Stadler. While on the longer outer suburban services, similar to the one we'll be catching today, you'll mostly get these SM4 units. And sometimes you can even find the very old SM2 trains also operating these services. With long distance services mostly handled by double-decker trains like this or VR's Pendolino units. But of course, we're not here to catch any of those. As we'll instead head over to platform 10 to catch our very special C train to Kouvola. This weekdays only round trip from Kouvola in the morning and back from Helsinki in the afternoon is the only regular train service in Finland still to be operated with these classic commuter train carriages. With all other commuter services in and out of Helsinki generally being operated by the trains shown earlier in the video. Hauling the train is one of VR's Sr2 locomotives, based on design also used in Switzerland, Norway and Hong Kong. They were built by SLM ABB from 1995 onwards and can reach speeds of up to 210 km per hour. And with departure time fast approaching, it's about time we try and find a seat on board this busy commuter service. As with all of VR's commuter trains, seating is free and you can just grab any you'd like. I had a bit of trouble finding an empty bay, but I eventually managed to find some free seats at the back of the train. And just as I've sat down, our trains begin moving right on time at 15:32. Leaving Helsinki, we race one of the SM5 commuter trains operating a service along the line towards Espoo and Kirkkonummi. We do this all the way up to Pasila, even passing many other trains. Our next stop is Pasila, which is an important shoulder station where the lines diverges. After a brief stop here at this important railway junction, Our train will continue heading north along the main line towards Tampere and Lapland, while the Western Coastal Railway will leave us here to head west. And with our train speeding out of the Helsinki area, I think it's about time we take a look at the route map for today's journey. We are catching train HLV233, which operates as part of the Helsinki Commuter Railway System as Line C. The train leaves Helsinki Station running semi-fast to Kouvola first, then making all station stops to Lati. Most C train services terminate here, but a few a day like ours carry on a bit further all the way to Kouvola. The trip is scheduled to take 2 hours and 1 minute to cover 165 kilometers, giving the train an average speed of 82 kilometers per hour. Leaving Helsinki, our train runs semi-fast, skipping many smaller stations. We do, however, make one intermediate stop at Kouvola, where there's a connection to a large bus terminal, as well as being an important interchange point for the railway line towards the airport. The station was also undergoing some track renovation work at the time of filming, meaning some platforms were out of use. From here on, the line gets a bit more green, as we start to leave the built-up urban area of Helsinki. And after our stop in Kouvola, our train will diverge from the main line heading north and instead heading towards the eastern main line, which is the fastest railway in Finland. This line allows for speeds of up to 220 kilometers per hour, but we won't quite be able to reach that, as our carriages are limited to 160. And as we're speeding along, I think it's about time we review the seats. The seats themselves are fairly basic, but do come with old school window blinds. Up above there's large overhead racks for big luggage, a Scandinavian style bin bag. Unfortunately, there are no power outlets on these trains, but the seats themselves are perfectly fine for a 2-hour journey, which is the maximum these do. Well, I did lie a tiny bit. There is one power outlet at the end of every carriage. And also these interesting tip-up seats. And as you'd probably expect, there's no Wi-Fi on board either. So make sure you have some 4G, so you can take full advantage of the amazing VR app, which have live train updates for your train. You can easily show your ticket. With its very clear UI design, available both in English, Finnish and Swedish. Honestly, this is one of my favorite railway apps. Our train continues to speed along the high-speed railway line up towards Lati. With us every so often pulling away from the mainline tracks to a side platform to serve some of the smaller stations. But eventually we arrive into Lati. Lati is where most of the C commuter trains ends, but as mentioned, ours will actually carry on from here. Our train is seemingly for no reason scheduled to sit here for 8 minutes, as there seem to be no connecting trains around. But it does give us an opportunity to go stretch our legs and have a look at the carriages. As well as the beautiful engine hauling our train. But as I've chosen to go visit Finland's most beautiful city today, we better get back on board. And shortly after, we depart, quickly getting back up to speed. After Lati, the stations become very basic, often just being a bus shelter and a platform. But it is nice to see that they have installed massive platform information displays showing train departures. Right, and before we get to Kouvola, let me show you the rest of the train's interior. It's pretty much identical throughout the train, with these seats in a 2+3 layout. By the doors you'll find a manual handbrake, as well as the ticket machines for the commuter cards, with the one for the Helsinki area being locked out of use after Sr2 Station. One of the carriages on board this commuter train is slightly different, featuring a toilet. So I guess we should go and do a review of that. This carriage is usually placed towards the middle of the train. The door is easily locked using a very manual knob and a push. The toilet itself is clean, but it's one of the older ones where you have to flush manually down onto the tracks. Otherwise, it was pretty clean, well stocked and fully functional, so I guess I can't complain. And with there not being much else to show, let's jump back to my seat and talk about the future of these trains. These carriages were actually retired once back in 2017, but was brought back for this service in 2020 due to a shortage of rolling stock capable of 160 km per hour for peak outer suburban services in the Helsinki area. But these carriages are likely being retired once for all, as VR has placed an order for 20 shiny new Stadler Flirt trains coming into service in 2026 that will allow for the retirement of older trains like this. And that's probably a good thing, as while these trains get the basic ride with comfortable seating and removing a large amount of commuters from the platform in Helsinki during the peak, they do lack pretty much every modern amenity such as at-seat power, Wi-Fi, proper bike storage, accessible toilets, and so on. But considering they're only used to operate one return working on weekdays, it's probably okay. And just like that, we are now approaching Kouvola Station. And let's talk about the tickets. The price of a Helsinki to Kouvola ticket on this train is a fixed price of 15 euros 60 cents that cannot sell out. However, if you make plans in advance, it can be worth checking the VR website or app, as it's possible to get cheaper tickets in advance on the faster and more modern long distance services, sometimes for as little as 6 euros. Our train arrives into the beautiful railway station here in Kouvola right on time. So, what do you think about these trains? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as I try to upload a new one every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Twitter, where I post live from my travels in real time, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek at what videos might be coming to the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.